Everybody, welcome to another football Saturday. It is week 6 here, and we are now enjoying it. Welcome to No Huddle from the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. I am James, and we are going to be discussing what is going on this week. We've had a lot of news going on. Sorry for not being able to be here last week. I had my military obligations, so I wasn't able to be on here. But we have had more news than anything. It has been getting crazy out here. We are in week 6. We only have 7 more of these wonderful Saturdays ahead of us. And we should be thankful for those ones. And this week's, I think, is going to be really great. But first, we're going to start off with the biggest news that happened this week, which is the Wisconsin head coaching job coming open, surprisingly, after Wisconsin fires Paul Chryst after 7 seasons, starting and also including this one. Now, and everyone's going to be shocked about this because he had a 67-26 record at Wisconsin, including 3 appearances in the Big Ten title game, and he was 6-1 in bowl games, including 2-1 in New Year's Six bowls. Now, he is replaced by a legend in Wisconsin modern football, Jim Leonhard. This is going to be his first time ever being an interim head coach, period, and he's been a defensive coordinator since 2017 when Cal hired Justin Wilcox. There has been some reports of conflict in the program. The AD and the higher-ups wanted Leonhard, see if he could be the coach. Others wanted, and the players, on the other hand, wanted Chryst to stay. So this is starting to turn into a conflict here. And you know what? I'm kind of agreeing with the higher-ups a little bit, because you can start seeing the Wisconsin program going downhill a little bit. You could, because they started off like gangbusters. I mean, going to New Year's Six bowls, going to Big Ten championship games and everything. And then, it started going downhill starting in 2018, where he went 8-5. Then he did come back up and win 10 games in 2019. However, he lost 4 games. And then the COVID year, he went 4-3 in just Big Ten play. Then went 9-4 last year, which, in some respect would be a good season for most teams. However, at Wisconsin, playing in a quote unquote weaker division, they probably considered that a down year. And then to start this year, going 2-3, losing big to your former coach in Brett Bielema by Illinois, and getting just embarrassed, probably was the straw that broke the camel's back there. And so they decide to grenade him after just 5 games to start the season. And now we get to see what Mr. Leonhard can do. So, and then, we're going to be talking about these next jobs to open. Since now Wisconsin opened, there's going to be a huge market for for head coaches. Cause I mean, you've got jobs that are coming open that you just didn't expect, at least this early in the rotation, with Arizona State, Nebraska, and now a bunch of others. But we're going to probably have more happen, because you've got Louisville with Satterfield on the hot seat. You've got West Virginia. You've got the complete and utter dumpster fire that is happening in Auburn at this moment. You've got South Florida, which just hasn't been performing at what they believe their standards should be. Missouri, I'm less worried about Eli Drinkowitz. I know that it's been not what Missouri expected. However, I believe that Barry Odom at the end of his tenure really didn't leave Eli with a lot of talent or anything that he could do to progress on there. And then also last year, their defense was just historically bad. They have improved. They played very well against Georgia, even in a loss. We do not acknowledge moral victories here. However, I believe Eli could be survived another year. Boston College is another school. They are just terrible this year. You could see that job coming open. And in Boise State, which is surprising that you would think Boise State has been rolling and just been able to find coach after coach, and they've really been slipping. So you're going to see that, that has the potential of coming open if the right coach or the right Boise State alum says, I want to come home. So you've got that going on. You also have, and I'm going to give the big games right now. Obviously, as a Tennessee fan, I'm going to be big on Tennessee LSU. We're starting that sucker off in less than 2 hours in Baton Rouge. There's been a lot of trash talk going on between the two fan bases, which is fun because this is the first time they've met since 2010, which I know sounds crazy because they play in the same conference. However, the way the SEC schedules have been for the past 10 years, it's been really sad that this fan base and these two fan bases can't play each other, because from what I've heard and from what I've seen on Twitter and everything like that, Tennessee fans are having a wonderful and delightful time down in Louisiana. You've also got where game day is going to be this week, which is TCU in against playing in Lawrence, Kansas, against the surprising 5-0 Kansas Jayhawks. Lance Leopold, one of our show's golden children, he has been straight killing it this year. They are 5-0 for the first time since 2009. That's right, the first year of the Obama administration. They have they have one of the best QBs with Daniels in there, and they are scoring points, which is in the Big 12, which I know doesn't sound great, but for Kansas, that's a big thing. And this is going to be the first time game day's ever been there. You're going to see Rob Riggle be Rob Riggle. I can't wait for this. This is going to be awesome. They're both defensively. TCU and Kansas are playing great right now. They are averaging under 24 points per game, and Kansas, hopefully in their sorry, just trying to make sure I get this out right. They're actually trying to be serious about football for the first time in ever, because they have already planned on spending $300 million on football. Now, when we say Kansas and you think they're going to spend $300 million, you probably think basketball. You probably think they're going to be getting a new upgrade to the to Fieldhouse or something like that. Nope, they're going to spend that on football this time, which is completely shocking. But it's deserved because they are 19th in the country right now. They've been on a wonderful run, and I don't expect them. And I expect this game to be close and actually probably one of the best games of the day, because some of the other games that we have coming up tonight, they're going to be a little rough for people. So we're going to hope for that. We also, which you would think if the Big 12 was going to have a college game day atmosphere, you would have thought it'd be this beginning of the year. It is the Red River rivalry shootout, however you want to call it. It's Dallas, it's Texas, it's Bevo, it's Sooners, it's Texas versus Oklahoma. And this is the first time that I think both of them have not been ranked going into this game, which is crazy. And it's a lot to do with Oklahoma being terrible the last two games. They're on the verge of losing 3 straight games since 1998. Now, that's a long dang time. Obviously, 1998 is a personal love affair year with me, but for Oklahoma, that was very much more unforgiven. This was Bob Stoops' first year. They are giving up a conference worst 423 yards per game on defense. They are almost letting 200 yards rushing. That is not going to cut it even for Oklahoma standards. When Lincoln Riley was, putting up 150 points, it seems like, and giving up 500. It's different here. And then they brought in Brett Venables, who came from Clemson, who's a defensive coordinator. He's a defensive coach, and he's supposed to be this defensive guru and actually let them learn how to play this stuff. But they're not doing it this year. And then also you got to add Clint Ewers is coming back to play against Oklahoma as the Texas quarterback. So we're going to see there's a whole lot of layers there, not just adding to the normal rivalry that is Oklahoma and Texas, which is always a great game. Last year's game was a absolute classic. The big Texas going out to a big league, Oklahoma coming back and winning it. It was a great game, and I'm expecting probably some more fireworks going on at that game. Big game out west. Now, the Pac-12's got quite a few top 25 teams, and 2 of them are playing against each other. That is number 11 Utah versus 18th ranked UCLA in LA. Hopefully there will be more than 2,000 people to come see this at the Rose Bowl, because my goodness, I mean, I have a personal hate relationship with LA. However, that is embarrassing that this team is that good, has that record. They haven't lost a game, and yet nobody wants to come see them. Why is that? It is Chip Kelly. He is doing as best as he can. It's really a detriment to show that maybe LA is not what we expect it to be as a market, because we know it's the second largest city in the United States, and USC has all this buzz around them. UCLA is just as good, and they get no buzz, no talk, no nothing, and they are playing just as good as them. But speaking of USC, they're having a home game against a very sneaky good Washington State, and I want to see, does USC come up to the number 6 ranking they got? Will they actually show up and put on a performance saying, yes, we are a top 10 team? Because the last few weeks, they haven't shown it. They've shown that they're a top 25 team. They haven't shown that, hey, we're in the running for a college playoff berth. And this is a game that they need to show it. I believe that Washington State, if you let them stick around and everything, you don't blow them out immediately, they're going to be able to, stay in the game and might be able to get this win inside of LA, inside of the Coliseum. So you got that dynamic going on, which is going to make a wonderful Pac-12 after dark slates going on. Also out west, we've got BYU playing Notre Dame. Now, Notre Dame is shown as the home team here. However, it is played at Allegiant Stadium, a.k.a. the Black Roomba in Las Vegas. BYU has looked a little shaky the past few weeks, struggling against Wyoming and Utah State. Excuse me one second. Don't want to cough into the mic. They need to show that what they were at the beginning of the year when they beat, I think, still a very good Baylor team, even though the records still don't show that. You got to look at this. Now, Notre Dame has been nothing spectacular this year. I think Marcus Freeman is trying his best. He is learning on the job. And, that's what happens when you bring a defensive coordinator in that has no head coaching experience, is that you need to learn how to be a head coach and get out of the coordinator mindset. Now, has he been able to do that? The loss to Ohio State is justifiable. The loss to Marshall, inexcusable. You do not lose to the Fun Belt at home unless you're going to get just absolutely murdered by every opposing fan base known to man. I should know this. I will have Georgia State forever etched as a scarlet letter on my chest for forever and ever. Amen. So Notre Dame, is this a game where they show up and say, we actually are a good team? Or is this just going to be another time where Notre Dame comes out there, sputters on offense, puts up a really valiant defensive effort, but just cannot score points? And you're going to, because I think BYU is a good enough team running the ball and especially throwing the ball. I love their quarterback. And I believe they've got another one. They've had Zach Wilson. They keep on producing these quarterbacks out there. And I know that they're like 25 years old when they become freshmen because of BYU's religious standards. Also, it's kind of fun because this is a very good religious school game. This is the Catholics versus the Mormons, and it's being played in the city of sin, which is this irony knows no bounds. I mean, whoever decided to schedule this in Las Vegas really has a sick sense of humor, and I like it, because who would have thought playing the Mormons and the Catholics playing in Las Vegas and on the Strip would be a great idea. It's very entertaining, and I'll probably be watching quite a bit of this game after my 12 o'clock game, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Florida State, coming off of that loss, they get to play NC State, and what NC State team are we going to see? Are we going to see the ranked team that played before Clemson, or are they still going to have a hangover from being hurt after playing Clemson in a very physical game? I was watching that game. It was extremely physical. Clemson just kind of went out there and kind of punished them a little bit. So you have all that going on, and this is a game where Florida State can come in, sneak in, and take out NC State, who really looked bad on offense last week. Clemson shut them down and made them, quote unquote, from Step Brothers, lick the white dog turd in the middle of the field, because they did not look correct. And then so we have that game, and that's looking like almost like a punishment game. Can Florida State come out there and punish, or is this NC State going to get their frustrations out on Florida State, who's coming in there. Maybe not, maybe not as good as we expected. Maybe they're lower overachieving first game of the year, but we'll get to see how that's going to go. But what's going to be a real punishment game, and I cannot express this enough, how bad this game's going to look on national TV. You're going to see this on CBS, and Nick Saban's out for blood. We're talking Alabama and Texas A&M with all that drama coming in, losing to App State, losing last week. They have not looked good all season, and they get to play the number one ranked team after all the smack talk going on and the press conferences going on in June and July. I personally thank them because it made something very entertaining during what we would, what casuals like to call that terrible O word. We don't speak that word here because there's never that O word going on in college football, but it made something very entertaining to get a little distraction. Now, the big news in this game is that Bryce Young, the Heisman Trophy winner of last year, is out. He is hurt. I believe he had an AC joint injury. That means Jalen Milroe is in. Now, he looked great last week against Arkansas. Looked amazing. And he's going to have to step up and play because A&M, for all we've said all bad about their offense, their defense is pretty good. They're 11th in the country in rushing yards allowed with 170 yards. That doesn't sound right. That sounds really bad. But the notes say they're 11th, which I don't know. But Alabama is second in the SEC with yards per game on offense at 525 yards. Okay, that makes it sound worse. Okay, so I misread my notes here a little bit. They are last in conference, so they are bad against rushing the football, and Alabama's really good at rushing the football. And I think Jalen Monroe is more of a Jalen Hurts style of quarterback where he is more of a runner than a thrower, whereas Bryce Young's a thrower that can run. I think Jalen Monroe is a way better runner than he is thrower at the moment, just because he's a young quarterback. He's one of those other 5 stars that are in the room. I mean, Alabama keeps pumping out, 5-star quarterbacks there because, he has all this talent. So, like, when everyone was talking about, oh, no, Bryce Young's hurt, Alabama's in trouble last week, I was like, I wouldn't say that because they probably have another 5-star running out. And then Joe Milroe wrecks off a 40-yard touchdown run. Also bad for A&M. Max Johnson, their starting quarterback, has a broken bone in his throwing hand, which is not good, my friends. This looks like it's going to be a bloodbath. Josh Pate of Outkick, I mean, not of Outkick, but of Late Kick, said this is going to be a Sarah McLachlan special, and I believe it. We're going to see Sarah McLachlan with the music coming out with, like, the poor abused animal videos. I mean, it's going to look like that. I mean, it's going to be not very nice. I might enjoy watching it for just a sick pleasure, but nothing is going to be proven to this other than that Alabama is a really, really good football team, and Texas A&M is going to need either an offensive overhaul or they might have a coaching overhaul at the end of the year, which is something that I would have never thought after collecting that number 1 recruiting class that they so much ballyhooed about. So we're going to talk about my last game here before we start talking about the surprise ranked teams. And that's LSU Tennessee. Now, this is the one of the other big ranked games between ranked opponents. We have number 8 Tennessee versus number 25 LSU. Obviously, you guys know where I'm going to be leaning towards. However, this is the first really big test for that offense of Tennessee's to see if they can step it up because LSU's defense is really good. Now, can LSU keep them in the game on defense so that their offense work? Because I know that their quarterback is hurt a little bit with an ankle injury that he sustained last week and against Auburn. Will that be an effect when it comes to Tennessee and them wanting to score 50 points every single game? Can the LSU defense step up and hold the offense in check? Because Tennessee's defense in the passing game is not very good. It's pretty bad statistically. I think they've improved a little bit. Obviously, we're saying this in relative form because, sorry for my phone going off. I thought I had silenced that thing. But defense has improved, especially on the running side of the ball. And I know LSU is going to want to try to keep a balanced attack to keep it from throwing, but the secondary for Tennessee is not very good. They lost another cornerback during the bye week. He had surgery. He is out for the year. So you're going to have a banged up secondary versus LSU's offense, which hasn't been the best, but can they improve and show their worth against Tennessee at 12 noon? So it's coming up really, really fast. And Baton Rouge, which I know every LSU fan was complaining about it. However, Tennessee fans have already been drinking. I've already seen it. They might have never stopped from last night. So we'll get to see hopefully some very entertaining football at noon kickoff on the Eastern time. So we're going to end this with the surprise teams that are ranked that we probably did not expect. Obviously, we've already talked about Kansas and TCU being ranked, which both were surprises. Kansas, they haven't been ranked in forever, ever since the Sean Reiser and Aqib Talib days. But you've got Penn State ranked 10th. We thought, everyone thought they were going to be a little step down because they play in such a difficult conference in the Big Ten East. However, they found themselves a running back. They found another Saquon out there, and man, he just pounds they just pound the rock, and they keep the quarterback from ruining the game. And they're now ranked 10th, and they're going to step over Michigan State this year. They're probably going to be third in their division, which is pretty darn good in comparison. You've got Michigan and Ohio State in the same division. We've already talked about TCU. We've already talked to UCLA, which please go to their games because they deserve it. They're 18th ranked in the country. Just go to the darn Rose Bowl. Pasadena is beautiful. It's way better than where the Coliseum's at. Trust me. Also, ranked 22nd is Syracuse. Now, we had Dino Babers at the beginning of this year on the hot seat. We thought he might be gonzo. And lo and behold, he's darn got them 22nd ranked in the country. Now, we'll get to see how they fare through the rest of the ACC, but they play in the ACC. It's not the toughest conference in football. And they also get to play Notre Dame, which might put another nail in that coffin, which is going to be great. Mississippi State, ranked 23rd. Mike Leach has done it again. I warned everybody at the beginning of the year, these are the type of years Mike Leach goes out and does something amazing, and he turns, chicken poo into chicken salad. And he's done it again. And who's shocked? Not me, because, I know they play in the SEC West, but I think they're, obviously they're better than Texas A&M. I think they're going to be better than Arkansas, who's getting banged up at this time. I think the Egg Bowl will be the most entertaining Egg Bowl we've seen in quite a few years, minus, the theatrics of someone simulating a dog peeing in the end zone. And then we got LSU at ranked 25th. You know what? Brian Kelly comes in, Coach O didn't leave the cupboard bare, what they say. I mean, yes, was Brian Kelly's opening weeks in Baton Rouge cringy as all get out? Absolutely. But this team has solid quarterback play. They run the ball. They're very balanced. They have a great defense. I think they are just a elite quarterback away from being an SEC contender, SEC champion, and a playoff contender. Because LSU always has talent. They play in a wonderful stadium. They have a culture of winning, and we get to see what they're going to happen there. Anybody else have anything going on around here? I believe it's going to be exciting. I am jazzed. I know my game's at noon, so I've only got 90 minutes left. But everybody, please go out there and enjoy this wonderful, wonderful weekend of football. I mean, I know the Thursday night game left a little bit of a sour taste in everybody's mouth, but trust me, Saturday's going to come in, and it's going to be the main course. It's going to be that filet mignon that it always is. And then we'd roll right into football on NFL on Sunday and Monday. So for JL, we wish Caleb a wonderful time with his family, and we'll see you guys next week here on No Huddle. Goodbye, everybody.